Welcome to a moment in sports history that has left everyone in the tennis world dumbfounded. You have definitely seen the headlines screaming in large capital letters if you have spent the last few hours around social media, sports forums, or foreign news channels. The world is in awe. Alexandra Eala defeated Dayana Yastremska by throwing the racket. We are discussing an incredible headline. The sort of viral phenomenon that draws attention from people all around the world and goes beyond the confines of the sport. However, there is a tale of unmatched perseverance, tactical genius, and a significant change in the women's tennis scene hidden behind the overwhelming spectacle of that viral title and the unadulterated passion of a racket soaring to the air in the sweltering heat of the California desert. We're going to analyze every facet of what may end up being the most dramatic, nerve-wracking, and cinematic match of the 2026 season so far. We are referring to the BNP Paribas Open, which is widely regarded as the fifth Grand Slam and is hosted in Indian Wells, a sunny haven. The conclusion was nothing short of legendary, the atmosphere was electrifying, and the stakes were enormous. Let's prepare for this crash with the Titanic. March 7, 2026, a Saturday. The Indian Wells hard court has brought the world of tennis to the Coachella Valley, requiring mental toughness, physical stamina, and unwavering accuracy. Stadium 3 will host an exciting encounter in the round of 64. Alexandra Eala, a 20-year-old prodigy and the pride of the Philippines, is on one side of the internet. Ranked 32nd in the world, a career high. Eala rode a wave of unheard-of velocity into the desert. She entered the court with not just her personal aspirations but also the intense, impassioned expectations of a whole country after winning the first round, a tribute to her rising stature on the WTA circuit. Dayana Yastremska was a dangerous opponent on the opposite side of the net. The 25-year-old Ukrainian is well known for her explosive power, aggressive baseline hitting, and extensive expertise under pressure. She was once ranked among the top 25 players in a Grand Slam semifinal. Eala's quick reactions and strategic counterattacks versus Yastremska's massive weaponry and unrelenting assault were well constructed for a collision of opposing styles. Over the course of the next 2 hours and 43 minutes, human endurance was put to the ultimate test in a battle of attrition. For the six, the ultimate scoreline is 7-5. Alexandra Eala prevailed 7-5. But those figures don't even begin to convey the pure intensity of the situation. Tennis commentators will be analyzing the match for years to come because of its amazing shot-making, excruciating momentum shifts, deafening crowd noise, and chaotic, heart-stopping finale. The viral phenomenon began at this match's finale. Imagine the situation. It is the decisive third set. Stadium 3's tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Dayana Yastremska is serving for the match at 5-4 after mounting a valiant comeback. She has a point of match. The Filipino-dominated audience, which had made the Californian stadium seem like a home arena in Manila, is holding its breath. The clamor of the rallies contrasts sharply with the unsettling quiet in between serves. With her back to the wall, Alexandra Eala just won't give up as Yastremska throws the ball in an attempt to end the match and guarantee her place in the round of 32. The young Filipina displays a level of mental toughness that is reserved for the greatest of all time as she faces certain loss. The match point is neutralized by her. She extracts mistake by forcing Yastremska into a taxing rally. Every shot seems like a life-or-death situation as the game progresses into an excruciating endgame, a mental prison. The collapse starts as the strain on the Ukrainian shoulders increases. Yastremska starts to fail on her serve because to the crowd's oppressive atmosphere and Eala's constant comeback. Not simply common mistakes, but terrible, devastating double faults at the most critical points in time. To give Eala the break point, she makes two mistakes. Once again, she makes mistakes twice. The audience goes crazy. Retaliates to even the score at 5. The drama is far from finished, despite the momentum swinging dramatically over the net. Yastremska must serve to remain in the match after Eala retains her serve to grab a 6-5 lead. The Ukrainian's normally fearsome service motion is clearly being consumed by nervousness. Yastremska's serve totally collapses in the last game when she faces match points of her own. Her demise is sealed by consecutive double faults from game point. The Ukrainian racket makes yet another painful mistake at the end of the last point. The tension that has been building for over 3 hours finally breaks at that precise moment. Alexandra Eala throws her racket on the hard court, overcome by a tidal surge of relief, fatigue, and exuberant victory. It's an outburst of unadulterated passion. It is a bodily release of the intense, oppressive pressure she had just escaped, not an act of rage. She recoils. The viral title is immediately sealed in the annals of internet history as the audience erupts into a thunderous scream of Isa pa and mabu. The world is in awe. The Ukrainian serving meltdown's pure theatricality, the racket throw, and the comeback from match point down. It was an unscriptable mix of athletic drama. Nevertheless, there was a significant instance of sportsmanship that merits equal attention among the mayhem and the widely shared racket throw spectacle. Dayana Yastremska, who had just had one of the most violent and public serving meltdowns of her career, approached the net as the dust cleared and the thunderous audience maintained their standing ovation. The Ukrainian professional gave the young Filipina a heartfelt, sincere embrace in spite of the heartache and the large Praola audience. It was a lovely tribute to a valiant struggle, an admission from a seasoned actor to a budding star that they had just collaborated on a masterwork of gripping, suspenseful film. That embrace reminded us all of the humanity that is at the core of professional tennis and anchored the viral excitement in the reality of respect for one another. Everything you could possibly expect from the sport was there in this encounter. Bold returns, thrilling hits, terrible double faults, wins on the line, deuce prison, and a dramatic conclusion that ignited the internet. However, it would do a huge injustice to the tactical masterpiece and the arduous path that took both of these extraordinary athletes to that particular tipping point to only marvel at the viral headline and the dramatic final moments. The racket toss is not where we should end. We must comprehend this victory's mechanics. We must investigate Alexandra Eala's development, Dayana Yastremska's psychological struggles, and the wider ramifications of this outcome for the remainder of the Indian Wells competition and the WTA Tour in general. In the scorching California weather, how could a 20-year-old from the Philippines defeat an established powerhouse? In those last, crucial games, what precisely occurred to Yastremska's serve? And as Eala is ready to take on the fearsome world number 4 Coco Gauff in the next round, what does this incredible triumph signify for her? It's time to look beyond the viral videos. It's time to examine the tactic, perseverance, and pure determination that characterized this instant classic. Let's get beyond this great headline's inspirational synopsis and start our in-depth study of Alexandra Eala's historic triumph against Dayana Yastremska at the 2026 BNP Paribas Open. Tio is well aware of how important this match is. First, we need to dissect Alexandra Eala's extraordinary journey. She went from being a highly anticipated junior talent to a real, tested force on the professional circuit at the age of only 20. For the Filipina actress, the 2026 season has been a surprise. I'm now ranked 32nd in the world, which is a career high. Eala is now more than just a fantastic tale. For anybody competing at the elite level of women's tennis, she is a hazardous draw. A persistent baseline pounding that is reminiscent of the Spanish star himself has been ingrained in her brand as a result of her formative years at the Rafael Nadal Academy. Eala is more than simply a defensive retriever, however. The key to her success versus Yastremska today was her very aggressive returning style. This 2-hour and 43-minute marathon was distinguished by a tactical mismatch that we will examine. Tennis player Dayana Yastremska is an expert at first strike. She can control the terms of any rally with her powerful first serve and enormous power from both wings. Yastremska can blast opponents off the court when she is playing at her best. Throughout the match, we saw glimpses of his genius, especially in the second set when the Ukrainian scored a significant share of her more than 50 victories. She strikes a powerful, penetrating ball that may quickly overpower an opponent who is less nimble. Eala's game, however, is essentially designed to counteract that particular style of play. They have some of the WTA Tour's quickest reflexes. She is really world-class in her anticipation, footwork, and ability to absorb speed and redirect down the lines. The second serve was mostly used to create the tactical battle line. Although it has spin, Yastremska's second serve isn't as fast as her first. He used a very aggressive returning tactic after realizing his weakness. The Filipina stepped forcefully onto the court rather than retreating behind the baseline to securely loop the return back into play. Eala quickly changed the point's dynamic from defense to offense by taking the ball early on the rise, cutting off angles, and speeding up Yastremska's recovery time. Eala was continually putting the Ukrainian on the back foot from the first shot rally, not just returning, but smashing returns. In the first set, this aggressive returning tactic was quite clear. Eala consistently put pressure on Yastremska's serve games to establish an early 5-3 lead. However, Yastremska dug deep, displaying the tenacity that propelled her to the 2024 Australian Open semifinals. She leveled the set and returned pressure to Eala by eliminating the deficit. This is when the 20-year-old's mental toughness really came into play. Instead of giving in to the disappointment of losing the lead in the 12th game of the first set, Eala continued to play aggressively. She persisted in pressing the issue, and as a result, Yastremska blinked and made 3 unintentional mistakes in a row, giving the opening set a score of 7-5. There was an intriguing tactical change in the second set. Yastremska raised the speed and danger of her ground strokes, maybe understanding that she could not comfortably roll her second serve into the aggressive striking zone of a started to go for more. To keep the Filipina off balance, aim closer to the lines. At first, the tactic worked, as Yastremska took a dominant 4-1 lead. But A showed her characteristic stubbornness to compromise. It was a 1-point game when she fought her way back. However, the veteran from Ukraine maintained her composure long enough to win the second set 6-4, necessitating the thrilling final. This leads us to the third set, which is a masterclass in both physical stamina and psychological warfare. Both players had been on the court for more than 2 hours at this time. The physical toll of violent, grueling rallies was becoming apparent, and the California sun was harsh. This last performance was greatly influenced by the Stadium 3 audience. There was a huge turnout from the Filipino diaspora. The stadium echoed with the possibility that I might shout, "Pa," which means "one more" in Tagalog. For an enormous supply of adrenaline, a surge of verbal encouragement that got her through the times when she was physically worn out. It was a very lonely place for Yastremska. Tennis is a solitary sport by nature, but it takes a certain kind of mental compartmentalization to play against a very enthusiastic audience. The match shifts from a fantastic fight to a memorable spectacle during the third set climax. Yastremska seems to have accomplished the apparently impossible. In the 9th game, she had broken serve and blanked her to take a 5-4 lead. At 30-15, she was serving for the match. The round of 32 was just 2 points away from her. However, Eala's whole way of thinking is based on her refusal to give up the baseline. In a game that seemed to go on forever, she put together an incredible run of points and saved 4 match points. There was a noticeable sense of anxiety throughout the stadium. The audience remained eerily still throughout the ball tosses, but when Eala gained a point, they erupted in thunderous cheers. Yastremska's serve breakdown in those latter games is an intriguing sports psychology research. It is seldom a physical problem when an athlete's technique falters under intense strain. Nearly all of it is mental. The yips, as they are frequently known, occur when the automatic muscle memory mechanics of a movement are disrupted by the conscious mind. Yastremska had a perfect storm of fear due to the crowd pressure, match tiredness, and Eala's persistent, smothering comeback. Yastremska was driven to hit the flawless serve each and every time because she knew Eala was moving inside the baseline to destroy any bad second serve. Her timing faltered and her throw went awry due to the intense strain of the moment and her quest for perfection. A disastrous sequence of double faults was the outcome. When attempting to serve for the match at 5-4 and again at 5-6 down, she committed 2 double faults that put her in danger of losing the match completely. She made 2 straight double faults from game point. For the Ukrainian, it was a devastating sight, but it was evidence of the unseen, crushing pressure Eala had been applying for the last 2.5 hours. It was the climax of everything she had worked for when that last mistake happened and Eala tossed her racket to the ground in a mixture of absolute ecstasy, incredulity, and complete tiredness. The physical expression of surviving a crucible was that racket toss. It was a young player's realization that she had just made a huge comeback on one of the world's largest stages. Nevertheless, the net exchange skillfully balanced the match's story. After experiencing such a severe self-inflicted breakdown at the finish line, Yasta's choice to give Eala a loving embrace tells much about her character. She was able to distinguish between her opponent's brilliant tennis and the partiality of the audience. It was a graceful moment that transformed the game from an athletic competition into an act of genuine sportsmanship. This triumph has enormous